Welcome to the SubHub podcast. I'm MK Sullivan.
And I'm Dani Moreno. And today we are continuing the mega madness that is April 2025. We are going to do a little race recap, talk about the latest going on with Golden Trail World Series, and then we're going to dive into the next race of the Golden Trail World Series, and then a big favorite of MK and I's, canyons, endurance runs. There's this going on this weekend, which, man, how did we already get to this weekend? It's crazy.
I know it does not feel like this race happened a year ago already for us.
No, just a year ago, you had your first golden ticket.
My first golden ticket. Yep.
Yeah, and we were talking, mega about canyons. But first and foremost, how is this week going for you? How's pregnant life?
Pregnant life is still giving me something different every day. It's I'm at a point now where I mostly feel good running, but there are like some days where I still feel like trash, but it's usually because I've done way too much the day before. This weekend, Helen did convince me to run 3 hours with her because she had back-to-back 3 hour weekend or 3 hour days, and she's like, everybody's out of town and Tommy's tapering, and I was like, I could give it my best shot. We could have a 2 hour like bail mark where maybe Tommy could pick me up if he needed to. And I made it the whole 3 hours. I really thought I was gonna have to come home and nap right away, but couldn't fall asleep. So I had more coffee, which just made me more tired. But I did make it all the way through Easter lunch dinner without falling asleep, and I was semi-social. So I didn't totally kill myself, but today I am pretty tired. So yeah, it's good though. I we're just vibing, trying to do as much as I can right now. I've done like 55 to 60 miles for the last 4 weeks in a row, I think. So yeah,
That's
it's going
awesome.
good.
3 hours is
Ha
no, I feel like an hour, is like always pretty digestible.
yeah.
2 hours you can work up to, but 3 hours is like another level. So that's pretty big that you still were able to do that.
Yeah. And it's funny because Helen and I ran together a couple weeks ago, and it ended up being like a 2 hour, 15-minute run. It was pretty steep, which I think was part of why I was dying. But I came home and I was like, okay, Tommy, I don't think I can run further than 2 hours. Like that was a lot. So I was pleasantly surprised because we still ran like 18 miles with almost 3,000 feet of gain. So it felt pretty good. Probably shouldn't do that every weekend though. But I have to do a little bit of it if I'm going to run Twisted Fork, which I think is like, an 18-mile race. So
Just do one of those every month and you'll be good.
yeah, I know. I think I put in my Strava that like I can taper for Broken Arrow VK now that I've done a 3 hour run. So
Not
yeah,
not true. Not true.
not true.
And then where are you headed this weekend, actually?
My husband Tommy is racing the Canyons 100 miler, his first 100 miler ever, and I will be crew chief. And it will be interesting because I have not stayed up past 11 p.m. Since I've been pregnant. Not that I do that often, but it probably would have been easier prior to that. And he's gonna finish like in the early hours of the morning. But I will have Helen there to help me until the final 25 miles, as well as some of our friends. So I think I'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine. That's cool. They're gonna be helping you though. That's awesome.
Yeah, we've got a decent amount of people coming because he has two pacers, Helen and our friend Matt are pacing him, and then like his mom is coming out and his friend Nolan. So we'll have a good little group of people keeping MK awake.
That's cool. I mean, yeah, obviously we focus on short races, but just like a quick call out, the Canyons 100 mile starts in the afternoon, which
At
is
noon on Friday, yeah.
considering how long the days are now, like you could have started at any other time before noon. But
We
yeah,
we talked about it. I have a feeling because it's a Friday that they start at noon, so that they're not because when you run through Forest Hill, the aid station there is at an elementary school. So I bet they just want like all of the school children gone by the time the top men get there, would be my guess.
Yeah, that totally probably is it.
But it
Yeah.
has to start on Friday because I think it's got like a 40-hour cutoff or something.
What if it was spring break though and there's no kids there at all right now?
Some California schools, I don't know if all California schools are the same, but I know that like Katie Asmuth was telling me that her kids are on spring break this week, so maybe.
Yeah, it's now like rolling spring break for kids in California, from what I understand. But dang, yeah. So if you're out at Canyons, we're gonna talk about the 50K in this episode. So obviously stay tuned. But MK will be there. Maybe she'll bring some Pub stickers.
Yeah, I've got some in the van. I always forget that they're in there.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I'll be there. I don't know. We're gonna try to come out for like the finish of the 100K, but I mean, if he finishes at like 3 or 4 in the morning, I don't know when I'm gonna get him out. I mean, realistically, he probably won't sleep. For those of you who have run at least 100K, you know it's really hard to sleep after that effort.
Of
So,
course.
yeah, maybe we'll just party all night, make it all the way through.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
How are you? Last time we talked, Danny had a little bit of
Edit
a
race.
an injury and we're coming back. So tell
Oh,
us
you're
tell us
getting
where
an
you're at now.
amazing day. I think where am I? I'm starting to like train. So we had like a transition week because I technically had already started my mini taper. I've only been running like 30 miles a week, so the taper was very minuscule. Um, but then we let the foot rest through the race weekend, and then I ran some test runs last week, and so now I'm starting my build training cycle to Broken Arrow. And so that was pretty fun to like nail down what that will probably look like with my coach or all my coaches. Um, so yeah, starting that up. And I was just telling MK too, like I ran yesterday and I ran today, not very far and long. Like yesterday was 9 miles, today it was like 7-ish miles. And just, I haven't run back to back in a really long time. And today I was like, wow, I'm tired. Maybe that's how it's supposed to work. But I think I'm learning, or I am learning the balance of injecting of cross training into running. Because running, I know how to train running. I would say like 98% of the time. I still make mistakes, but like I get the general idea of we push hard on these days and we push easy on these days. But with the injection of cross training, I'm like trying to find that balance of like how easy is too easy or how hard's too hard. So like last week I biked multiple days for like 2 hours and I was like pretty tired on my run yesterday. And so yeah, just trying to figure out that balance. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. I think I just need to keep training because my mentality of where I can be in 8 to 10 weeks is a very big question mark right now. I hope I'll be able to compete, but it feels like, yeah, I'm just putting the blinders on. I got to take it week by week and see what happens.
Yeah, 8 to 10 weeks is a lot of time. It doesn't feel like a lot of time now,
It
but
doesn't
like,
feel like a long
yeah,
time.
once you get closer, you're gonna be like, wait, when is this race gonna happen? Because I feel like I've
Yeah.
been training forever.
I hope so. And I was planning on maybe doing GoPro games, but now that race that you and Helen are going to, so when
Oh
we say
yeah.
Helen, we are referring to Helen Mino Faulkner, the
Yes.
Hoka Ultra baddie, who is also a friend of MK and I's, bestie of MK. There's a race that's kind of like on the east side. We won't share the details yet. That like looks super fun. That I'm like, what if I just use that instead of flying out to Colorado? So that's
Yeah.
another idea that came up this past week.
Well, let me know because right
Yeah.
now that's gonna be like a maybe weekend before decision for me.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah. It's that's like one of those races. I was telling Helen yesterday, I was like, I just don't know. Like it might take me a really long time to get to the top. I was like, it might take me like 2 hours. And she's like, MK, that's really not that slow if you think about it. It's like, okay, fine. So we'll see.
We'll
But
see. Cool.
yeah.
Well, before we dive into Golden Trail, I noticed in your photos with Helen, you were wearing a pair of pit vipers. Do you want to describe like which ones you were wearing and stuff?
Yeah, of course, Helen and I are now known for our heart-shaped sunglasses, which are called the Admirers. And we actually have a discount on Pit Viper. You do have, it's not a code like all of our other uh,
Discounts.
discounts, thank you. But if you go into either the SubHub links or my own link or the show note links, there is a link for Pit Viper. When you click on that, it will automatically apply the discount to your cart. You won't see it until you check out, but it's 20% off. And yeah, the admirers that was wearing yesterday were actually my transition pair. So they do make a couple of transition sunglasses that are in fun styles too. So you don't have to be, practical and boring. You can be practical and a little bit fun.
I love it. I did just see they had like a jellies one come out. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever wore jellies in high
Oh
school or
yeah.
school. I loved jellies. They're basically like plastic shoes that you wear. Crazy.
I
But
think I
any
have those. Not the shoes, the sunglasses.
oh I was like, you don't have jellies?
Oh,
That's a 90s kid thing. But yeah, they came out with the Rainbow Jellies Admirer. I saw that on their Instagram the other day. So yeah, check out that link if you want discount, especially with summer coming out and like if you want to look mega cool like MK and Helen, click that link for 20% off.
I know. I'm gonna have to get some baby vipes. They make baby pit vipers.
Oh, that's so cute. Yes, you do.
I got some for my brother's baby, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to get my kid a matching pair for, the cousins.
That's so cute. I love that.
Yes.
Um,
Um,
go
let's
me.
start
Oh, sorry.
talking. What was that?
Oh, just like general Golden Trail news.
Oh yeah. Let's start with the first thing that I feel like we all got an email about this week, which is they got a new TV deal for Golden Trail World Series, which was really interesting because last year was the first year that they did Eurosport,
Eurosport.
right?
Yeah.
And there was like a lot of talk, I feel like, after Golden Trail this year about or last year, sorry, about what this year was going to look like. It seems like many people were skeptical of will it be successful? Like, are people going to start leaving? Like, is there still a TV deal? Because, I mean, how do you make something like this exciting all the time? But Golden Trail World Series announced a new partnership with Warner Brothers Discovery Sports, which apparently includes a lot of things, actually. Like when I read that, I was like, do you have to have a Warner Brothers subscription? What does this mean?
Yeah, it includes Eurosport, TNT Sports, Max, which is pretty common in America. I don't know how that is global, slash like it used to be called HBO Max, and then Discovery Plus. But yeah, it's a multi-year collaboration. They didn't say how many years, but I'm guessing they are doing what they have been doing, which is like making what is on YouTube and putting it on TV. Because yeah, it was kind of weird because the first year they did Chasing Dreams, like I was in it. That was 2021. And those still are some of like the most watched YouTube videos, which makes sense because they've been on there longer. And then it was, yeah, last year that they started doing Eurosport. But sometimes I still have people saying like they'll see me on TV and I'm like, that was from years ago. So I don't know if it's kind of like, you'll see like old Friends episodes.
Yeah.
Sometimes they show up. Or maybe I'm just getting my years crossed and people told me that years ago and it feels like it was last year. But they're saying that it's going to be a TV friendly 2 hour event, which is a main reason why they've been doing like the flower courses for better spectator engagement, like Kobe, like the finals have been really with like
Yeah.
Noel and stuff like that. So yeah, it's super interesting because with Golden Trail, to me, they have all like in recent years have been the pioneers or the ones that are trailblazing, like the true professionalization of the sport. And as we've talked about on this podcast, like I do think there's still space for both. Like not everything needs to be Golden Trail, but Golden Trail is here to be like athletes. We hear your concerns and stuff because people have been outspoken on Instagram about this stuff. They're like, we'll take like whatever for a grain of salt, but like this is who we are. So if you want to be a part of it, like sign up for our races. If you don't, like choose a different series, is kind of the message to me that they're sending.
Yeah, especially because now they've signed this deal that does have these TV friendly 2 hour events because we talked about, this kind of big shift this year and taking away a lot of the longer races, basically other than Zagama and
Oh,
adding in much shorter races. But it seems like, and in my head, I was like, maybe it's just because it's a World's year. And so they had to like change the schedule. But now it's like, no, this is probably here to stay because now they have a TV deal and they have to keep it packageable.
totally.
So.
Yeah, I wonder what that does for the schedule too. Like if they're gonna, because obviously there's some races that they kept the same. Kobe, Sierras and all, Sagam,
Zagama.
which I don't blame them for keeping Zagama. Zagama is Zagama. But everything else is net new.
Yeah.
China, Mexico, Austria, Broken Arrow.
Broken Arrow.
Yeah. And Italy, the final.
Yeah.
So overall takes, like when you read this, did you like feel any like strong feelings either way?
No, I don't know. It felt a lot like the Eurosport thing to me where I was just like, oh, cool. Now it's just like a little bit more uh easy to access, I guess, Like at least in the
Yeah.
US, because Eurosport is not something we use. So like having Max and Discovery Plus like makes it an option. But I am gonna need more info. I did not watch Kobe this weekend live. Because I guess I just didn't even think that I knew how. So I'll have to like look into it a little bit more. But yeah, nothing like crazy surprising. Greg is just out here wheeling and dealing.
Totally. And to me, I don't know if it's going to be broadcasted live. It just says 2 hour TV specials too. So to me, they're still doing kind of like the whole season happens and then the videos get made once they like
Yeah,
identify interesting storylines and stuff. Because like people still do come in and out of the series. I mean,
yeah.
we both have
Because they
done.
said like the coverage and reach says live and on-demand broadcast, but then
Oh,
also
yeah.
free content. So I don't, and news and storytelling. So maybe they're gonna have to be more on demand with their storytelling too. Like it'll have to be a little bit more dynamic. It can't just wait until the end of the season in the same way.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I mean, if they are signing a deal like this, I wonder if they are getting more investment so that they could hire the right amount of people to actually execute that.
Yeah.
I
Because
mean, they had kind of a dream team cast, but like they can only do so much.
yeah. And I want to fix what I said earlier because I said the Golden Trail World Series was partnering with Discovery or Warner Brothers Discovery, but it's actually Solomon is partnering
Oh,
for Golden Trail World Series. So
interesting. That makes way more sense.
but also interesting because I heard some rumors at some point that Solomon didn't even want to be a part of Golden Trail World Series. So
I
we've got
know.
like all sorts of stuff going on here.
I have too. Like I thought they were gonna try and sell the series, but
Yeah.
like it's pretty
Seems
set
like
on.
they're in it.
Yeah, the only things that came to mind for me, uh, one, does this officially push Golden Trail to be the premier series? Was my first thought that came when I saw this. Two, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
And then three, is this going to start turning back into a Solomon ad, which I think would not be good for the sport because there used to be Solomon TV, and if depending on what treadmill you run, sometimes Solomon TV is still on your treadmill. But like, I don't know if that's still a thing. It was at some point, and like, I think what kind of rubbed me the wrong way, granted, it might have just been the athletes that were there, but one of the first pump up reels for Kobe was it felt like a freaking Solomon ad again. And I was like, how are we coming back to this? Like,
Yeah.
you have been working so hard to highlight like other ads. Why does it suddenly feel like a Solomon ad? I'm like, maybe I'm just looking for something to pick on, and there has been other videos, but I
Yeah.
was this is literally like six Solomon athletes again, which is how the series started and like was the biggest criticism. So if Solomon is making this TV deal, I can't help but think, why wouldn't they like push their athletes the most? Which
Yeah,
is
definitely.
my one of my main criticisms of it.
Well,
Yeah.
we can talk about this a bit because I think you and I feel similarly in the fact that like when I looked at the start list for both Kobe and Great Wall, like I wasn't terribly impressed. Like so far, obviously it is still kind of early, but last year we were like, "Oh, these races are early," and they were like pretty freaking deep. And this year it's like you've got your, your star athletes that, won last year or have been around for a while, but I mean, it seems a little slim to me, I think. And so you are, if it continues to be slim, like I think overall, you're still always going to have Solomon athletes in there because they're probably bonused pretty well for going to these races.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's really true. I mean, a big part of it is like incentivization for athletes and stuff. Um, yeah, I mean, at Kobe Trail, it's like on the women's side in the front, you had like four, like Joyce, Madalena, Malin, Sarah. Those were like the four mega hitters, right?
Hmm.
And everyone, not everyone else, but a vast majority were local athletes. And yeah, I feel like in the most competitive Golden Trail races, you have like 10 to 12 women, all from different brands, all from different countries.
Yeah, like
Like,
last year there were a lot of Spanish women at this race, and this year it's like just Sarah and Malin. Oh wow, I really got that mixed.
but even like from a brand standpoint, I mean, I know Terex isn't like heavily showing up to these races, but like I think there was like Ali Mack, Sylvia Nordic Star on like the
Yeah,
hook side too. You had Maud and Sarah. Yeah, yeah. We'll see as the season goes on for sure. It's gonna
yep,
be interesting, but those were definitely some calls. I think it is a net positive,
yeah,
but I do want to see like how it ends up turning out. And again, like I truly, truly think the like roots, grassroots events can coexist with these sort of things. Um,
yeah,
and this to me is just like Golden Trail further moving their chess piece across the board, being like, this is who we are, and we're not going to pivot to anything else.
yeah, which is fine.
Which is fine. Yeah, you know what you're getting when you walk into that candy shop.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. In our second, they had a lot of like, of course they
Yeah,
did. It was like the
of course.
beginning of
Yeah,
the
kickoff.
season, but Golden Trail also announced the final, which I actually was surprised they announced it so early, but I think that they were just waiting for this like deal so that they could announce it all at once.
Yeah,
The grand finale will take place in October in Italy's Trentino region in the stunning Ledro Valley near Lake Garda.
yeah.
So we probably don't know what the course looks like until, my guess is like 2 months out. But did we always know that it was happening after Worlds?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
They just
So it's
hadn't.
always been in October.
Yeah.
My guess is that it'll be a flower format. My guess is that it will be a time trial, a day off, and then a 26K race.
Yeah, I feel like those are all safe bets. And
Yeah,
it looks like it's like inland of Venice, that area.
cool.
So kind of like close-ish to the Alps, but if it looks like it'll be closer to a lake.
So
So
probably fairly technical.
probably fairly technical,
I feel
yeah.
like the further you get from the Alps in Italy, the more technical it gets.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not long flowing. It's just like constant
Yeah.
movement. So yeah, they had that, which there we go. And then last but not least, Golden Trail News. They announced and released their new branding, which I just think this was a surprise because I think most people were like, I don't know, used to it, okay with it. Like there was nothing like blatantly wrong to it with me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah, why? But the series has been around since 2020. Maybe it's time to do something a little bit different. Although looking at it, it's like they basically just changed their vibe from black and orange to white and orange, and the font is the same. There's just less letters.
Yeah, yeah, it GTWS, which I would say most people in the media space already call it that, like,
Yeah.
or like use that to announce it. Yeah, to me, it's very like live strong, like Lance Armstrong. I cannot help but see that. But yeah, it's black and white photos and yellow and white font kind of looks like their main branding. And even looking at their photos from like Kobe, they still have a lot of color, but if you look at like the winner announcement and even like some photos scattered between, like they are adopting more of that like black and white, like yeah, someone with a design major can probably explain like why this was a good decision.
I can't believe Mike just left.
I know it. I mean, it looks good. No, Mike is not design. He's video. It's
He's
very different.
video. All right.
I gotta help with that man. But yeah, I don't know. It's like to me, it falls more in that like Nike, like Adidas, like high
Mm,
performance, Martin, like clean lines
yeah.
look. Yeah, but
Yeah.
live strong for sure.
Live strong for sure. So that's like all of the non-racing Golden Trail news, I guess.
Yeah,
It's a big
definitely.
week.
It's a big week for Golden Trail. Before we get into the results, is if you haven't already, like say you have tried Never Second, maybe there's a race coming up where they are utilizing Never Second. Um, I have really been liking the citrus gels lately. I think being in Santa Barbara right now, where it's warmer and a bit more humid, it kind of reminds me of lemon lime Gatorade. Like it's just the classic, easy flavor to get down. And while it's not super hot in Santa Barbara, I feel like I'm heat training because it's better than Mammoth.
It's humid.
Yeah. But yeah, the C30 citrus gel, I've been hitting that hard and they just go down really easily. So if you want to try Never Second, again, you can use this code on any and all of your orders. Use SubHub25 to get 25% off your purchase at never2.com.
I have a question. Have you tried the unflavored gel yet?
I haven't, but I really want to. Have you?
I know people me either because it's not really something that appeals to me per se, so I haven't like ordered any of them, but people have been asking me about it, so I feel like we need to try the
Yeah.
unflavored and see what our review of it is because I'm sure I mean if you're somebody who gets flavor fatigue, I'm sure it's probably fine, but I prefer sugar. So,
Yeah. We'll definitely have to try that because yeah, I was talking to Rod. Rod Farvard is also a Never Second athlete. He was asking me if I tried it yet. Yeah, I just haven't experienced flavor fatigue yet.
yeah.
I wonder if you like mixed it with, say, like two fruit punch or
Mm,
two
just to
citrus.
like dilute the flavor a bit.
Yeah, how that
Hmm.
would taste.
So
Yeah.
yeah, maybe eventually we'll try it for you guys.
Yeah, for all the people that do get flavor fatigue, who run far enough to get flavor fatigue.
Yeah.
Cool.
All
So,
right. Kobe
Kobe.
results.
Oh, bad.
So we talked a bit about Kobe. Same race as last year, starts at the top of a mountain, goes down, up, down, up, down, up. Last year, I think Dani and I came into this race being like, oh, whoever's the better descender is definitely going to win this race. But it turned out on both the men's and the women's side to be the best climbers in the race because Patrick Kipnino, who is a multiple time, VK world champion, and Maud Mathis, who is also very, very good at climbing and VKs, ended up winning last year. And this year, not much different on the men's side. Patrick Kipnino still coming out on top, not really a surprise to, I think, most of us. And then Sarah Alonso winning on the women's side, also not that big of a surprise, but I do think this was a little bit different in the sense that we kind of talked about this offline. Sarah is a fantastic climber, but she's also just willing to throw herself down pretty much any type of downhill. So I would put her in the category of like
She
the
checks all
strong downhiller won this
Oh,
race.
yeah. Yeah. I would say she's really good at everything. Like,
Yeah.
but I agree. Like of the women that were competing, she did have the better downhiller, and that's probably where she got her edge from. But
Yep.
yeah, I mean to MK's point, Joey Hadorn, who is I think he's still a cross country skier. He might
Probably.
still be competing. Solomon athlete came out on a tear last year at this race as well. This year, holy cow, this kid can freaking downhill. Like, I actually would love to see him and El Hussein go head to head on a downhill. Like, this might be that next guy that we soon put into that category of like if it was a pure downhill race between Manuel Marinas, Antonio Martinez Perez, El Hussein, Killian, throw Joy Hadorn, like what's gonna happen? If you haven't already, like look at the clips on Golden Trail World Series, especially this clip where he's running downstairs where he's like leaping 20 steps and
So
just
confidently.
so confidently
And
and
they
the
look
stuff
narrow.
they're not large.
Yeah.
He's just like on the edges of them. So yeah, he went out on a tear. And yeah, he ended up paying for it. And Patrick came back and Philemon came back as well. I think what looked like on the third climb, they started like closing the gap, and Patrick again took the win in 2:29:46. And then Philemon Kiriago and Bogdan Damian, or Damian Bogdan, they had a sprint finish on the last uphill, which looked terrible. And Philemon ended up beating him by only 3 seconds. So very reminiscent of the Sarah Alonso Teres LaBeouf
Yeah.
uphill sprint finish last year. So again, this course just looks brutal, like on all stages. It's crazy.
Yeah. I think I called Philemon getting second in this race last week, if I
I
remember
think you
correctly.
did. I think you
And
did.
yeah, I just, I had a feeling like he and Patrick have just gotten so significantly better at like technical downhills every year since they started. And I just feel like Patrick had made it there last year, but Philemon was still kind of like catching up on the technical stuff. But he's here, he finished 2 minutes behind Patrick, and I was pretty impressed by that actually.
Yeah, to me, you can really improve with downhill if you are running with people often, like in training. And
Yeah,
considering they have the same coach in like a training group, you just push that much harder and you seem to have, or at least in my experience, like a little bit more fearlessness, like when you're running downhill with other people versus by yourself, like it's the only thing you could focus on. So yeah, I would imagine too, they both have just gotten a lot more confident on it and they know how to like what they're going up against too, which is
yeah.
helpful.
It's always easier to follow somebody else down a hill when you're learning. But yeah, they've both seen the course now, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on the men's side, we went Patrick Nino, Philemon Kiriago, Damian Bogdan, Joey Hadorn in fourth, Ryun Osuke, sorry, Omi in fifth, Daniel Pattis in sixth, Theo Bourgeois in seventh, Koken Ogasawara in eighth, ninth, Rui Ueda, and 10th, Juho Yelenen, a Finnish athlete who seems to be
Huh.
fairly new to the scene. So those are your men's Golden Trail podium for our first weekend here.
Yeah, and
And
no new course record. Patrick ran
nope,
2:29, and last year he ran 2:22, which we're thinking it was hotter. So that could have had a big thing to do with it.
yeah, it seemed like a lot of people posted about the heat post race. So I think, yeah, it was just, I mean, when Japan is hot, it's humid as hell. So I believe it.
Totally. And then on the women's side, I'm pretty sure MK and I both, like, the only thing we were confident in was Sarah Alonso winning, and lo and behold, Sarah Alonso won. Um,
Yeah,
She, from what we could gather from the information online, Joyce was leading going into maybe the second climb or going into the second descent. It looks like she did take a wrong turn and added 30 seconds, but Sarah still ended up winning by 6 minutes. And something in me, and probably MK2, thinks like she would have won on the day.
yeah.
But yeah, bummer for Joyce. We all know like wrong turns are hard.
Because
But
she
yeah.
lost, so she won by 6 minutes, but Joyce finished almost like 15 minutes behind her.
That's
So
what
it,
I think. Yeah,
yeah.
like maybe she would have been closer to top four, top three. I don't know. But yeah, Sarah Alonso coming out, kicking this year off with a tear. Medium take, does Sarah finally win Golden Trail World Series? I guess time will tell in like what other people enter the conversation, but I'm definitely picking Sarah for top three when the series is all said and done. I think she'll be a
Yeah.
strong contender for that.
I mean, I think she wins Zagama. I
Yeah,
just
I
don't
think
know what else she's racing this year.
she's not racing US or Mexico. She's racing China next week.
Yeah. And
Which
she
I
needs
think,
four.
yeah. I wonder what else she's racing actually. That's a good point. So we'll see.
Yeah,
Maybe Austria?
maybe.
Yeah.
But her
Um,
first three will be done by May, so that'll be nice. She'll like get to watch everybody else kind of play out for a couple months.
totally. Yeah. Madalena Floria in second. Again, if you haven't checked out the Golden Trail World Series Instagram, there's a sick freaking clip of Madalena like running with Patrick, which is wild
Hmm.
to me because we all know she's a really strong climber, but to see her running with like the best climber in the world, maybe
Yeah.
adjacent only Remy Bonet is pretty freaking badass. And it was cool. I think they were kind of like playing, like using each other because both of them were kind of like in no person's land. But she finished 6 minutes behind Sarah, and Malin Osa was then a minute behind Madalena Floria, which great race for Malin Osa. Like we know she's really good at technical descending, but seeing her run up the climbs and stuff and to be only a minute behind Madalena, like she's coming into the season in good shape.
I feel like at this point, Malinosa is has like almost put herself in a position where she's like guaranteed a podium spot. Like I feel like every time she races, as of like last year at least, like she's either second or third. It's crazy.
What is she? Well, she did Sagama and she got second. And
Hmm.
I'll have to look up her other results. What else did she race last year?
I don't, last year was weird because she her mom passed away in the summer, so she didn't really race until the final, but then she was like on it again. I want to say she was like third or fourth in one of the days.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like she's like
Yeah.
always top five ever since that those American races 2 years ago, like the Pikes Peak Mammoth double, like she crushed those and then has just been like
That's
so
right. She was
consistent.
fourth at Mammoth that
Yeah.
year. Yeah. No, I agree. Dang. Yeah, super cool to see her crushing it. Fourth was also the only other woman we previewed, Takako Takamura, 302, another strong race. And then fifth place was Sarah Wilhoit. I believe she's a UK runner. Uh,
Hmm.
then rounding up the top 10, Joyce Nigiru, Honoka Akiyama, then Yoshimi Tanaka in eighth. Ninth was Betty Bergstrand. That is a sick name. And then 10th was Courtney Coppinger, which was our lone American in the top 10, male or female.
Did we have any men go? I mean, I
Oh,
didn't see any, I don't think.
I didn't see any, but I can dive
Yeah.
into the results while you.
Yeah. Yeah, and on the women's side, same thing. Course record did not go down. Maud Mathis ran 252 last year. Sarah ran 254. But with, Patrick running 7 minutes slower this year than he did last year, Sarah only running 2 minutes slower than Maud with the heat is like pretty impressive. So we'll
Yeah,
take it.
I really think like these Spanish athletes, they are gonna like continue to crush as races get hotter because
Yeah.
they're always in the heat all year long. And Sarah does like really well in the heat, so it's pretty cool. Also, Madalena's like leg wrap. Did you see that?
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of people had some crazy tape jobs going on, and I need to know what we're doing it for because should I be doing it? It was like one of
Does
her
that
legs was
increase
all,
blood flow? Do I need to be doing that on my
yeah. It's like when all the Solomon athletes started putting on those like little patches, It's like a specific tape that you see all over their legs. And now Madalena Floria, she had like her whole left leg was like fully taped on the front, and then the other one was like fully taped on the back. And I was like, at first, I thought maybe it was in case she fell because I was like, maybe she's covering her knees, but it wasn't in the right places for it to be like protection. And then one of the Japanese athletes also had some like crazy tape job going on. We need more information. I need to know why we're doing this.
I agree because yeah, if it was me, I thought of Sarah honestly when she like ripped a chunk out of her leg out in
Oh
Flagstaff a
God,
couple years
yeah.
ago. And I was like, did she fall during the course preview? But her Instagram, like, was it pre-post or after post, Madalena said she was having some leg cramps. And so that was like, so the only thing
Oh,
I was
she's
thinking, I'm
fixing
like,
it.
maybe it's like a compression sock, right? Like to increase,
Hmm.
but yeah, Madalena, if you're listening, just let
Let
us know.
us know.
Maybe we'll all start rolling up with that. It's like, yeah. Let's...
Oh man, there's always something new.
Oh, Garrett
Um,
Cochran ran. Oh no, wait, this was last
no,
year.
no, no, he didn't. Yeah, he's taking care of Teddy for Rachel Drake and Tyler Green, who are in Japan for a different race.
Mhm. Also,
Dani and I also were talking about the video. You guys just have to go check out Golden Trail's, Instagram page for all this stuff. But there was this hilarious video of the women. I'm gonna assume on one of the first ascents because there's like six of them together. And they're flying. They are flying down this like fairly runnable section. And there is just a totally normal human being like in the middle of them, moving very quickly, but looking very panicked. And
Man,
whoever they are
imagine it.
almost got fully taken out by the last person in line.
She like has a backpack on and I'm just guessing maybe she was cheering and then
And it got caught
came and
up
then
in
she
it.
realized it was like a single track and she's just going with it. And yeah, it's a
It's so
pretty,
steep too.
yeah, she's just in it, which yeah, is pretty
Oh
cool.
my gosh.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe
So
link
check it
that.
out.
Yeah, it's so
But
cool. Man, yeah, I can't find the results for this thing. So
that's okay.
we'll just shout out to Courtney Copinger. She is now a Brooks athlete and ex-UA Dark Sky track athlete. And yeah, she's also competing in China, which we'll get into in a second. But before we jump into our previews, one last race. Sky Race Day Mathesines happened again. If you don't remember, this was the race last year where Hillary Girardi did a full somersault and got millions and millions of views on her video.
Yeah.
But this race, it like starts runnable, then you're like going up this technical skyline. Most of the time there's snow, and then you come off of it, and then it's like kind of runnable technical again. So very much a little bit of everything. But on the women's side, Lucille Germain ended up taking the win, which is awesome, and she now is representing normal. Julie Leroux, representing Saltman, was second, so 1-2 for French athletes. Prelude to World Championships, we don't know. Third place was Marta Martinez with La Sportiva Spain, and she was the one who we called out as our athlete of the month for winning um, a Continental
Acantilados.
Del
Yeah.
Norte to kick off the season. So yeah, that was our podium.
And then on the men's side, Alex Okerbacher, which is actually a name I don't think I've seen in Skyrunner before, from Italy, La Sportiva, won in 2:25.50. Roberto De Lorenzi, who we all know on this podcast, finished in second. And Jan Torella from Solomon and Spain finished in third. Luca Del Perro finishing in fourth, which was kind of surprising to me, but he has run like most of the Skyrunner races at this point. Um, Except the only person who's run more than him maybe is Frederick Tranchon, who was fifth. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure Frederick was at Argentina like the weekend before, so.
it looks like his name is Jan Torella, not John.
Ah, sorry. I mean, I guess that would make sense. You are from
Oh
Spain.
yeah, it's his Instagram, Jan Torella. Yeah.
Jan.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Um,
and there definitely was snow again this year, it looks
yeah.
like.
Yep. And that like ridge looks pretty, I mean, I wouldn't do it in the snow or not. So like going up seems fine, but then the very crux of the mountain, those pictures always kind of freak me out. So great job to all of you guys.
It did look like
Um,
a sunnier day than last year too, but to me, what gets me is always the clips of them at the end of the race because you're like, oh, it's not that bad. But then when you watch like the whole video review, you're like, oh, that's very technical race. They're just showing like probably the part where they're moving the fastest and it like looks
yeah.
extreme and you're like,
The
oh.
part where the camera person can actually like run with them without like fearing for their life.
There is a clip though of Jan Torella because again, in some sky races you can cut switchbacks, and this is one of those races where the dude full on hurdles a freaking rock. Like he does the hurdling form where he brings like his leg, like one leg forward, one leg back. It's wild. It's
I'll
like
have
a
to go look at
full,
that one.
yeah, it's crazy. It's yeah, looks like he's steeple chasing down a mountain, which is anyways, you can tell that this is just a freaking wild to me. Sky runners are built different for sure.
Yes. Yes.
Cool.
So those were our results from
Yeah, those
last
are our
weekend.
goals. Um, cool. Well, as you guys know, we are coming into the end of April, which April has just been like pew pew
Boom,
pew.
boom, boom.
That's
I like that
all.
we had different sound effects.
Nonstop. I do want to, again, last week I was talking about Poseidon bikes, and just another shout out to the bike that I recently have gotten, the Triton X with some gravel tires and a drop bar. Being in a place, Santa Barbara is just like so great for cycling. And I took that baby on some roads, and then there's also kind of like these mesa bluffs, and it was just crushing the trail, which was so nice. And so yeah, if you're feeling a little itchy for a new bicycle two-wheel dagger, consider using SubHub to get $150 off your purchase at Poseidon Bikes, like Poseidon, like the god, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think he's the god of the ocean. PoseidonBikes.com. You can also see that code by subscribing to our SubHub headlines, which you can subscribe to by clicking the link in our bio, going to our YouTube, seeing that bio, or just Googling SubHub Headlines, which is our monthly newsletter, which is actually coming out pretty soon again. And so our discount codes are always there. So if you are listening to the podcast and you're like, I can't write this down, I'm driving, I'm running, how am I going to remember this? Yeah, if you subscribe to that monthly newsletter, they're there every month. Look at
Right at
that,
the top.
right at
Right
the
at the
top.
top. Awesome. Let's get into some previews. We have the end of, like you said, our crazy month of April coming up here this weekend. This episode will come out a little bit earlier than normal because a lot of people covering canyons this week. It's a big week. But first, we are going to cover the second race in this Golden Trail World Series back-to-back double, which is taking place in China on the Great Wall, which is crazy.
Oh, crazy. I was asking Emkay, I'm like, isn't that like a protected site or something? But the Great Wall is long, so I'm sure there's some parts that like people aren't. I don't know. I've never been to China or the Great Wall. We should Google this, but I think the Great Wall is very, very long. But the where the race is taking place, it is so it's in the middle of China. It looks like it's northeast of Beijing, like halfway between Beijing and another area called Chengde. Um, and yeah, it is roughly, how long is this sucker?
15 miles.
Roughly
20,
15 miles.
24K.
24K with about 5,000 feet of gain. So it's a hefty one because it's not like one big climb, one big descent. It seems like you're constantly going up and down. Any generic photos you've ever seen of the Great Wall of China, like I think I would imagine that, like it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. And yeah,
It seems very punchy.
seems very punchy. And it being in China, I mean, looking at the weather forecast, it's going to be hot and humid. That's
Yep,
it.
not surprising. Not surprising at all. I will tell you guys, we have been looking at this Strava map as well as a map of the Jinshanling Great Wall Marathon and their elevation or altitude map that they uploaded, and we are still having a little bit of a hard time deciding how much of this race is on the Great Wall, but we think that at least maybe miles 4 through 8 are for sure on the wall. Are we thinking more? It's kind of hard to tell.
It looks like roughly, it doesn't look like the whole race is on the wall, is what we're
Yeah.
trying. It looks like maybe like a little less than half of the race is going to be on the Great Wall. So maybe we'll
Yeah.
look at that. It looks like they start uh like on a road, maybe that looks quite fast. Then it gets jungly and they make their way to the wall, enter the wall, come on and off the wall, and then come, it's a big old loop that you end back where you finished.
And I have been looking at some pictures from the Jinshanling Great Wall Marathon, which seems to be on some of the same parts of the course. And um, this is an interesting race. There's like some really, really nice parts of the Great Wall. There's some really disintegrated parts that look like it could almost be like, a chossy little descent because it's like pretty steep. And there are some steep, 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 narrow stairs.
Yes. And if any of you follow Meow Yao, who is a Solomon athlete who badassery won OCC last year, she's been posting some reels, and I'm guessing that's on the course. But watching her, she's basically like mini hopping down the stairs, just to give you an idea, like
Yeah.
not American, North American stairs.
They're
Um,
teeny little things.
they're teeny little steep steppers.
So we're interested to see what technique Joey Hadorn takes down these stairs after watching, because Kobe stairs were pretty small, but these are way steeper and even smaller, I think.
Yeah. Maybe he just jumps off the whole thing. Or what if someone
Yeah.
like jumps on the sidewall and runs on that instead and then just like risks dying? Like
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's above that in Golden Trail, to be honest.
No, I wonder if they have to sign a waiver that's like, please don't die. Don't step
Please,
on the side.
please don't do anything stupid unless we have a camera there to catch it.
Somebody just somersaults off the top instead of touching any of the steps.
Yeah.
Oh
But
my
yeah,
gosh.
definitely check out Meow Meow's videos because yeah, watching her run up and down the stairs is pretty, I'm gonna guess she's gonna be pretty dang good at going up and down stairs. Because stairs is a very special skill set for some trail runners because it's very fast, quick feet. So it's gonna be
Yeah.
interesting.
We should have sent all of our San Francisco homies out to this race.
All the Dipsy people, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's go through some of the people that we have listed here. A lot of the people who ran the race last weekend are doubling back because it is just like one big Golden Trail trip. That's why they do these back-to-back things so that people will have two experiences in one. But big names to add to this list are Yao Miao, who we just talked about, Chinese athlete who is incredible, and Joyline Chepnyenyo. Ugh, those NGs are really hard for me. Sorry, guys. From Kenya, also an incredible athlete. She was the new trail athlete who last year came to her first trail race at Sears and All and won it.
Yeah.
So,
Now she is signed with Solomon too.
oh,
That's
okay.
Solomon ads. Yeah.
So, I mean, those are the two. Oh, and then we also, I hope she's showing up. Ikram Rarsala is also signed up for this race. She was the Spanish athlete that we highlighted, I think, two Subhub headlines ago, who ran a debut marathon of two,
Oh,
what did she run? 2:26?
she was sub 230 for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So if this is, you know, as the Joyline Yao like Ikram mashup, I'm ready for because Yao Miao has also run like 2:30 or just under in the marathon. So these women are incredibly fast. Um, it looks like we are maybe adding another American to the list, at least one. It looks like Rachel Tomajic and Andy Cornish are on this list. Courtney Coppinger will be doubling back from Kobe. It's interesting as an American to just choose to do one. I wonder if these women did Kobe last year and were like, not for me.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't blame them, It's
Yeah.
like, and like, depending on work and stuff, you're like, well, I can't manage 2 weeks right now because I have worlds. I have, you like pick and choose
Yeah.
what you got going on. But yeah,
Uh, Alice Gaggi from Italy also joining the crew maybe, and she's been top five at Sears and all before, so also very speedy. So I wonder if people are just counting on this as being a little bit of a faster of the two races, and that's why we have more of our faster athletes lining up.
I mean, it is kind of interesting because stairs technically aren't technical. I think they're just freaking brutal as heck. And
Yep.
like, if you know you could run stairs, it's a very straightforward, like, training process. You're like, oh, I just run up and down stairs and like find that rhythm. And so speedy people tend to have pretty good like cadence and rhythm. And so if you can like crack that code and feel really strong about it, then yeah, I would sign up. But
Yeah.
yeah. But as far as like predictions, I mean,
This one's
since
kind of hard.
This one's hard because the additions are heavy hitters. Like
Yeah.
Yao Miao and Joylene Kepnigo, like are both super fast. To me, it's really hard to say Yao Miao will not not run away, but will win this. It's like she's been training on the course. She's one of the best in the world, and she's also fast. So why wouldn't you bet on like a fresh Meow? But sometimes we've learned, and I've learned this the hard way on both sides as like a commentary athlete. People sometimes when they have a race under them, like tend to race better. Like they do kind of warm up and are like, all right, I've found my rhythm. So I definitely wouldn't count like Sarah Alonso and Madalena out of,
Yeah.
potentially being in that like winning group. And Joyce too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Do you want to give your top three? I think I have one. I have
Go
mine.
for it, because I'm still thinking.
I have a hard time betting against Joylene because, she showed up to Sears and all and won, showed up to the final and won. Like it was no big deal. So I think Joylene is my winner. I think Yao Miao is second. And I'm actually going to go Madalena for third at this one.
Mm. Just to switch it up, I'm gonna go Yao Miao, Joylene, and I also agree Madalena as well. I think this is a really good course for Madalena, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think honestly, Kobe is like not her vibe. She did really
No,
well. I was really surprised, but that's not the stuff that she like feels most comfortable on, I think.
totally. Yeah.
So,
Cool.
yeah,
Well, super fun.
that's the
Um,
women's stuff.
that's the women's side. Now the men's side, we also have some new additions. This one is kind of interesting. We have Sergio Alejandro Gomez Hernandez, who's coming from Mexico, which is
Hell
wild.
yeah.
We
Love
love
it.
that. We have Aiden Walsh, who is South African. I actually have never heard of him. And then
Two new
uh,
Kenyans.
two new Kenyans.
I don't
Rufo
know if I know either of these guys.
Ezekiel and Timothy, or maybe it's Ezekiel Rudo and then Timothy Combet. Um,
Millimani runners.
Millimani runners, which if you guys know Robert Pickmoy, he's a Millimani runner and oh wait, is Robert
I
where?
think he's Millimani. He's not run together. Um, so we got two run together on
He's not.
Kenyans versus two Millimani runner Kenyans. I still think Patrick and Philemon are the cream of the crop in my head, but it's fun to see another pair thrown in there.
Yeah, Robert
Um,
is not Millimani. I just want to make sure that's
oh,
clear. Just
okay.
come on. But he's best known for winning Trans Gran Canaria a handful of times and Solomon Perinu. And last year at the final, he did really well. So anyway, sorry, go on.
Interesting that El Huzin's not in here yet, right?
That is interesting because he is healthy.
He's
Um,
racing,
he is racing.
but just
Hmm.
not at Golden Trail. Makes me think he's either just not doing Golden Trail or he feels confident enough about the second half of the season that he's like, meh, don't need to go to Asia right now.
Yeah, totally. Oh, you know what? It might actually be a traveling thing though. I don't know.
Visa thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes
Last
they,
year, people had a really hard time getting to China.
yeah, and Japan for
Yeah.
some of, so there could be
Hmm.
something there. Yeah, his race schedule isn't up, but you never know. You never know.
Do we add? I don't see any US men in this one either.
I don't see any either.
So I don't know.
It's
I th
relatively the same group guys, everyone.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say, like, I think that my podium is just gonna be
The same.
actually, I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. I'm gonna go Philemon and then Patrick because I do think that Philemon is the faster of the two of them, and this is a bit of a faster course, I'm gonna guess. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
go Philemon first, Patrick second, and
Joey, man, look, he was on those stairs flying.
yeah, it's gotta be Joey. I was like, is it gonna be Daniel Pattis or is it gonna be Joey? Joey for the stairs in third.
Joey moves it. I definitely agree with that group of three.
Yeah. Um, It could be Patrick, but I think it's gonna be Philemon. It's kind of like a Mammoth and Headlands type thing for me where yeah, I just think Philemon will be a little bit quicker out the gates on this one.
I'm looking
Oh,
at because Millimani has been doing a good job of their Instagram and like updating clips and stuff like that. And they are showing the two new Kenyan runners, especially Kiprotich, and he looks like a pretty freaking good climber. So I think I'm just not going to put them in the three yet. I mean, they could be on the podium, but we'll just see what happens.
yeah,
You know, yeah.
for
Cool.
sure.
All right. We know Golden Trail is the World Series on a global scale, but I think I speak for MK and I. The race that we may and probably are the most excited for, I probably think for the whole month of April, is
Yeah.
Kenyon's freaking 50K.
Yeah. Add the 100K in there too, and the
Yeah,
100 miler because my husband's running it. But
yeah.
Canyons Week is just so fun, like in the American realm of racing. I was telling Danny that this is the first year in 3 years that I'm not racing at Canyons, and it feels really weird. I was like, should I sign up for the 25K? But then I remembered that that probably starts like 3 or 4 hours after my husband finishes his race, and that's a terrible idea. Um, but yeah, Canyons 50K. Last year, Danny ripped this race and won it in a course record time of 3:52, which is crazy fast. Danny is not racing this year, leaving open a bit of a power struggle here between our returning second and third place athletes, Jennifer Lichter and Tabor Hemming.
Yeah, it's interesting because canyons, I feel like when I ran it the first time, I don't know if it was a golden ticket. Maybe it's always been a golden ticket race, but I think the
It
50K
has
is
been for a
really
while,
the 50K is really like gained
picking
some
up.
from UTMB and also just like people enjoying the distance more, I think
Yeah.
in America, right? Because it's always been like the longer distance. And then last year it being a major definitely helped. But yeah, this 50K start list a couple months ago did look a little bit different. So we have had a couple of notable drops. On the women's side, the notable drop was Caitlin Fielder, who is no longer racing. And then the men's side, it was Hayden Hawks. But yeah, this women's field. Sorry, I kind of was going backwards, but
No, you're good.
I ran 3:52 last year.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, if I was racing again, I think I think sub 350 is possible. I think naturally it's easy in the 50K be like I could shave off a couple minutes. Um, before we like dive deep into the emphasis of the women's field, you ran the course but backwards.
I'm
Um,
pretty sure it was almost exactly the same, but backwards.
yeah,
But I'm
that's
not
what
totally.
you were like
Yeah.
the lollipop, the out and back was the same, but the loop was backwards.
I think
In
so.
reverse. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
got, yeah. And it was a little, actually it was a little different too, but
Yeah.
more or less the same. Um, so this race, because getting a little ahead of ourselves with the field, the first 10K roughly
It's downhill.
downhill, ripping fast. Like if any of you have run on the Western States course, like you are on the road for the first 2-ish miles, and then you're running slightly downhill, and then you go out and then you start this, then you're like running along the river for a bit. And then you start roughly like a 2 mile freaking barn burner of a climb. Like
Yeah.
it is so fast. And then once you get at the top of that, it's like rolling for most of the course until you get to the aid station called Mammoth Bar, which you like drop back down to the river for.
So
And
painful.
so painful. And then
At
you
the end of
have,
100K at least.
yeah, yeah, because the 100K runs that same last portion of the 50K.
Yeah,
And then you have one more climb, which if it was at the beginning of the race, you'd be like, this isn't that bad. But the
but it
fact
sucks.
that it's, I love your comment. You're like reliving
Yeah,
it.
I am.
How long is that climb? It's only like half a mile, right?
It is from mile 24.2 to mile 25.2. So it's a mile and you gain uh like 600 feet, but it feels like so much.
It feels like 1,000-foot climb at
Yeah.
that point in the race.
Yeah, I couldn't run
Um,
it.
yeah. And so you get to the top of that, and then you have 2 miles-ish before you exit the lollipop.
Hmm.
Yeah, you have 2 miles on like you can't
That
not pay
downhill's nice.
attention. It's nice, but there's like rocks and you are starting to run past people. Um,
Hmm.
I think it's the 25K. And then you jump back on that same portion that you started on. So it is a fast course. And as we've learned the last couple of years, just assume it's going to be hot. I haven't even looked at the weather, but
No, the weather's actually great. The high is like
oh,
65 or something.
what?
Yeah.
How?
So it's just getting less and like the opposite of the rest of what we would imagine is like 2 years ago, it was so, so hot. Last year, it was like kind of hot, not really. And this year, it's like 65 degrees. So we're just getting cooler and cooler every year.
Well, when I looked at the historic weather last year and the year before were nearly identical, actually. When
Really,
I,
because I just didn't think it
yeah,
was that hot last year.
I
Maybe I was
think,
just like so heat trained.
no, you probably were. And you probably like, you started cooler than you
Yeah.
probably, so maybe like also the locomotion of your body just like warmed up slower.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember looking at that and I was like, oh, it's just going to be 80 every year now because that's like more or
But
less.
this year's beautiful.
Wow, dang, that's actually really surprising because Lake Sonoma, like,
It was hot.
dude, it 50.
Yeah, everything's kind of cooling off this weekend.
Okay, well, that's gonna definitely change my predictions then.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the course. Any other things to note about the course? It's runnable. It's really not that technical. There's like a couple parts where like you need to pay attention, but if
Yeah.
anything, it's really freaking windy and nearly
Yeah.
all single track.
It is the epitome of California carpet.
It's the epitome of California carpet. The
Yeah.
only technical part, in quotations, is the drop to Mammoth Bar, in my opinion.
Yeah. And it's mostly just because it's so steep
Yeah,
that it's like, and it's twisty turny still. I mean, it's a downhill mountain bike section. And so it's like not surprising that it's technical and it just comes at a time when you're really tired. So
yeah, yeah, totally.
Yeah, but as I mentioned, the women's side is like, a battle of the giants coming back from last year.
Mhm.
We've got Jennifer Lichter, who recently won Trans Gran Canaria for the second time, but she was also second to Dani last year. And Tabor Hemming, who was third at this race last year, she just recently won the Big Alta 50K and the Desert Rats 21K. So, she's fit. Jen's fit. It'll be a great battle between the two of them. And then adding to this field, Heather Jackson coming back after a year off. She did not run this last year, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, she won it. She won the 50K 2 years ago when I ran. Um, but most recently, she was fifth at CCC, and seventh at Western States this last year, where she was the second fastest master, I think ever because Ida broke the
Yeah.
Masters record. I'm pretty sure Heather's also broke it, but she finished behind Ida. So, probably just coming out here to do like a really fast, hard workout before Western States, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
Valerie Arsenal, who was third behind Rachel and Mary Denholm at the JFK 50 miler this last year. Kimmy Schreiber coming all the way over here she's German, right?
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, and she was third at the Transvolcania 50K last year, third at Eiger last year, and 10th at Le Templier. And Hannah Allgood is our final women's elite athlete here. She won the Eiger 100K last year, was second at the Javelina 100 miler, dropping down a bit in distance. But although she did do a 50K that you were mentioning the other day, the Marin Ultra 50K, where she also won. So another gal just out here for some good Western States practice.
Yeah, and that was a ripping fast big ultra. Big, not big ultra, Marin Ultra. And Kimmy did just win a race. It's freaking in German, so I can't understand it, but it was a pretty fast, like German road runnable trail that she won back a month ago, but I can't give it a shout out because I can't really figure it out. But Yeah, she's in good fitness. She won a race in Germany, which was pretty cool. All right, this women's field. What do I think? What do you think? Okay. Uh, I have FOMO. It'd be so fun to run right
Me
now.
too.
Jen and Tabor to me, it's so freaking hard to pick one right now. I think they're both
Yeah.
just freaking strong, and this course really, really suits both of them. Do they run off on their own completely? I don't think so.
No.
I think Heather, Kimmy, and Hannah will go with them for sure.
Yeah.
I don't
Heather
think
is never going to be
out.
somebody who lets people go.
Yeah. So it is kind of interesting because like Jen is a firecracker out of the start. Heather's a firecracker out of the start. I actually Tabor can do both.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know too much about Valerie. Kimmy is not. Hannah, I don't know too much about, honestly, to say. So you have two women that for sure are firecrackers. Do they just like burn each other out, or does one of them burn the other one out and like everyone else like takes the tidbits?
I don't know. I think
I
they're
don't
too
know.
experienced, and it's a short enough distance.
You can die in
Okay.
a 50K though.
What was that?
You can die in a
Oh
50K.
yeah.
Yeah.
Trust me, I've died in a marathon distance. Um,
Died in 20K before.
yeah. Oh yeah, I did that at fucking Headlands last year. So I think I'm gonna make like some maybe two easy picks here. I'm just gonna go Jen, Tabor, Heather.
Oh, for your podium.
Yeah.
Why Jen over Tabor, though, out of curiosity?
I just, man, I think they're both so gritty, but I just think that Jen has this like upper hand of toughness that like I don't know. The only other person I've seen it not work against is you. So, yeah, just based on the way that she ran, Worlds a couple of years ago and TGC this year, like I don't know. I just don't think Jen loses.
Yeah, it's to me, I guess I'm struggling because I think Tabor is really fit right now. I think she was training to run really well at Boston, and then obviously didn't. For those, she didn't run Boston. And her big Alta 50 was really strong. And I think the crux that is interesting to me is like Tabor pretty much, from what I could gather from social media, and I haven't asked her, like big Alta, she kind of like sealed the deal and was running by herself. Whereas Jen did have a little bit of a battle, but she also was running ahead, and Jen like ran much faster at TGC this year. So it's like, how much is that worth versus Tabor's big Alta win?
Yeah.
Like,
I think another thing to think about, at least for me, is just that Jen has raced further away. Like Tabor's last two races were
that's
pretty
true.
close to this one.
Yeah, so it could just be who's showing up slightly
Yeah.
more.
And then I just don't see Heather off of a podium at this race.
Yeah.
When it comes to the 50K, because she does do stuff like this often where she just goes out balls to the wall, she
Yeah.
usually hangs through 50K. So like, yeah, you give Heather a carrot, she's gonna chase
That's true.
it.
She at least makes it through 50K.
Yeah.
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah, it's hard for me not to put Hannah Allgood in the top three, to be honest. Um, just like having ran with her and Kimmy at camp, they're both really freaking fast right now. And watching them like train and work out, I'm like, that's gonna be a really good Canyons battle. Ugh, I'm just beating around the bush. Oh, who's gonna win this race? Mm, I don't know. I think I'm gonna cop out of this.
What?
No, I can't. Oh, I think Jen will take it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, okay, to me, the part is if whoever is leading at the halfway point where you cross the road, I
Yeah.
think that's who wins. Because as we both know with these types of trails, it's one of those messed up courses that if someone like has a minute or two on you halfway, it is so hard to close the gap.
Yeah.
And at that point, you start going net downhill again. So I just think like whoever pulls away at that halfway point to me is pretty much the winner. Unless if people are together, say like there's three of them going down to Mammoth Bar, then it starts to get really interesting because something when I was trying to figure out like what kind of time I think would win, where I think time could be taken off still is that drop into Mammoth Bar and back out because between Mammoth Bar and the finish, I put 5 minutes on Jen, which is wild. So like if you have the legs to climb, and you've probably experienced this too, like it's not flat on the way back.
No, and I think it is a big advantage to have already raced up that hill because I feel like I've gotten better every time at it because it really messes with your head because it does get steeper every single mile until you get to the top in Auburn.
Totally.
Uh, and obviously my 100K time was probably slower than the other times that I've had climbing up there, but it was probably a better effort because it was like the fourth time I've done that in recent years.
Yeah. No,
So
I
I
agree.
think, yeah, having the experience on the course specifically is also important.
I think so too. Which Jen and Tabor have, which is why I just think it's yeah, a battle between them and then some smorgasbord of everybody else. Um, okay. Yeah, I just think it's gonna be so freaking close. It's hard to say.
Hmm.
Does the course record go down? I think it is in jeopardy because of the weather.
Yeah, I think it's a possibility because it's so cool.
Yeah. I think
But
the only thing that can, well, there's a handful of things. The reason it wouldn't go down is if they push way too hard the
in
first
the
half.
beginning, yeah. Yeah,
Is
definitely.
because I do think it can go sub 350 if the weather is right. And well, la ti da, the weather is freaking right.
Yeah,
All right.
so good luck to all those ladies. We're stoked to watch it unfold. The men's side. Um, Returning winner, Eli Hemming. He recently won the Big Alta 50K, was fourth at Black Canyon 100K in his debut 100K. And as I just said, he won this race last year, but he's not totally alone. Do you want to go through the men's field?
Yeah, we have also Jeshrin Small, who was fourth at the 21 Desert Rats. I know he was a little disappointed with that. He also won the Black Canyon 50K, and he did run this race the year that Emkay ran it in 2023 and was second behind Hayden Hawks and had a banger of a day. I do think Jeshrin is like a fast runner, so that's gonna be awesome. We also have Seth Ruling, who won the Black Canyon 100K. This is like a Black Canyon rematch and was fourth at this race last year behind Eli, Dan, and who was third last year?
I don't remember.
Oh, we'll have to look that up at some point.
Yeah,
I feel so bad. Who was third?
I'll go look.
And we have Matt Daniels, who was second at Chuckanut last year. He did run some 50K out in Colorado like a couple, maybe like 3 weeks ago. I don't know which one it is, but apparently it was good. Like he ran well. And the dude's just fast. He's like really good at like fast stuff. We also have Nick Handel, who was 13th at OCC last year. The year before that, I believe he might have been 10th or 11th.
He's 11th, yeah.
He is really, really strong 50K runner. He has been dealing with some low iron issues. How do you know that? Instagram?
He asked me about it last year and then asked me about iron again like last week. So he must still be
Wow.
struggling with it, which is a real
Well,
bummer because, yeah,
that is-
I think he was second to Eli or he won the 30K at Big Alta last year. So, like, that was kind of when everybody was like, oh, Nick Handel's on the scene, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Dang. Well, hopefully he figures that out. That's rough.
Cole Watson was third last year in the 50K.
Oh, that's right. I remember Dan telling me he actually caught Colt pretty late in the race.
Yeah.
We also have Drew Holman. That's
Yeah.
this is like Boulder Boys Central in the 50. We have Drew Holman, who was second at Canyon's 100K. I actually don't know him to run 50K, so that's really exciting. I'm just gonna guess he's a fast dude, though.
He's got
Um,
to be fast. I mean, he's been top three at Western States.
yeah.
Yeah.
We also have Cade Michael, who is previous trail team member. He was 10th at Headlands Trail, which was a huge, huge race for him last year. and also 12th at Mammoth Trail Fest. So the kid is fast. And then we have Sven Koch, who is a German athlete. He was third at Lake Sonoma 2 weekends ago, a mere 4 to 6 minutes behind Dan Jones, also very fast. And I think him coming over from Germany, just being like more used to the time change, more used to the weather, he'll probably even increase his chances this time of finishing up higher. But yeah, this is literally like Boulder Boys Central because it's like Seth, Matt, and Drew. But then you
And
have,
Eli also trains in Boulder sometimes.
yeah, like Eli trains sometimes, Jeshrin sometimes trains with them. So
Yeah.
they're like Boulder Boy adjacent
Yep.
members-ish.
Cade Michael also trains and lives in Boulder, I'm pretty sure. So
Man, it's a bummer we don't have like a California boy trying to take on all these
I know. Well,
Coloradians.
Nick Handel would be the California Avenger for
The
sure
Cal,
because he's a Bay
yeah.
Area guy.
Oh, there we go. There we
Yeah.
go.
Drew
And
Holman used to be a Bay Area guy. Does that count?
it depends what he claims. I don't know. He's on the Boulder.
Yeah.
But we did want to call out unfortunate drop by Hayden Hawks. Hopefully he gets healthy. MK and I are big fans. But yeah, he has to make sure he gets to that Western States line healthy, which I agree, that is the top priority. So, but bummer because I was really looking forward because Hayden's freaking fast as heck.
And he's won this race a couple of times before, so
Yeah. So he
yeah.
would be a fun battle with Eli.
Yep.
What do you think with these guys? Uh,
I'm Do
yeah.
you want to go first or you want me to go first?
No, you go. You seem more confident than me.
Okay, I'm gonna go Eli, Seth, Jesh. I just have a hard time not putting Seth like pretty high up after that performance at Black Canyon.
Yeah, like he
And I think
sounds.
he's gonna be pretty close to Eli.
Yeah, I would guess so too. Who went with Eli Black Canyon? It was Seth,
It was
right?
Seth, yeah. But Seth's
Like,
kind of just like sat on him.
yeah, I agree with those picks. I hope Jeshrin or Jesh bounces back from how he was feeling at Desert Rats. Because at Black Canyon he definitely showed like he has wheels, and like I've said, Jesh has been second at this race before. But yeah, Eli, Seth, Jesh, I think is a very solid three.
Yeah.
And
And if I'm
I
being honest, I think that Drew Holman and Jesh could be interchangeable.
yeah, I think if Drew is like 100% healthy, Matt is like a wild card to me. He could win the whole, like run
Smash
away
it.
with it.
Yeah.
He could die. I don't know. Like not die, but like fade
He could bonk
a
it.
little bit. Yeah, bonk it. So yeah, if he like ran away with it and smashed and ran the fastest time ever, that also wouldn't surprise me. Um, yeah, but I think that's a really good bet. Eli
They're
said.
both going to be great races.
Yeah, totally. Well, what gets me excited too is like as a woman when this strong of a men's field, you can like it's and in women's field like it's just like an overall feeling at the start line when both races are like feeling heavy and stacked, which
Yeah.
is nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Does the men's record go down? What did Eli run last year?
Oh, I just had it open and then I closed it. My guess would be yes. I mean, like, I think
Yeah, if the weather's
uh if the weather's nice, like Eli can run faster than he did last year. And he's got just as much competition. So it's like, you know,
yeah,
he's not gonna run away with it. Because Danny Jones was like pretty close to him last year. So
3 minutes. Eli did though. He had like these really bad headaches like the day before and like barely ate. So
I think, yeah, I think the men's course goes down for sure. And the women's probably based on weather. But
Eli's just plain Amando Duplantis. He actually can run 3 hours. It takes a little bit off.
just a little bit of money here and there, you know?
The Mondo controversy is he's already jumped, 5 feet higher than he has.
Yeah.
He's banking on those world records.
Yeah.
That's
That's how
funny.
you make $1 million every 3 months if you're
Yeah,
not a
exactly.
trail runner. Oh man. Well, that's the weekend.
That is the
So
weekend. So yeah, if you see MK out there, she's got stickers in her van. Remind her to pass out stickers. And again, the Sub-Hub headlines are coming out in a little over a week. So if you haven't already subscribed there. And yeah, if you're enjoying the podcast, check check out those ratings, maybe consider giving us some stars. It really helps us out. And we love doing this, and we want to keep doing it. So yeah, if you're feeling like spreading some love, like, we appreciate it. So yeah.
Absolutely. This has been the Sub Hub podcast. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.